Sharon Tate was a promising Hollywood actress born on January 24, 1943 in Texas. Raised in a conservative family with a military father, she spent her early years in Europe. She moved to Los Angeles in the 1960s, where her charm and beauty led her to several roles in films and television shows. Tate rose to fame with the 1967 film Valley of the Dolls. However, beyond her career, Sharon was also known for her vibrant personality and love of the arts. Married to director Roman Polanski, the couple was considered one of Hollywood's most glamorous. However, Sharon's life was tragically cut short. She was 8 months pregnant at the time of her death, a fact that added further horror and sorrow to this terrible crime.
A podcast dedicated to real-life mysteries and true crime stories. Tune in every Wednesday at 5:55 p.m. for a journey into some of the most intriguing and chilling cases in history. The podcast is created by Chris Mariotti, the leader of the noir rock band Edgar Allan Poets, and features their music throughout. The theme song, The Shadow, sets the perfect tone for this dark and captivating series. Follow us for more noir music and unsettling stories.
Charles Manson, born in 1934, was a former convict who proclaimed himself a messiah. In the 1960s, he formed a commune of followers, often composed of young, vulnerable misfits who lived with him in California. Under his influence, Manson spread delusional ideologies, convincing his followers that a racial war was about to erupt in the United States, a vision he called Helter Skelter. Manson was obsessed with the White Album by the Beatles, believing that the band was aware of his apocalyptic vision. In particular, he thought that the song Helter Skelter predicted that black people would win the racial war and contained coded messages that would help Manson's family escape Los Angeles safely. He began using Helter Skelter as a code for racial war and ordered murders as part of a plan to trigger it. Manson and his followers did not just talk about these ideas. They took violent action to create chaos. On the night of August 8th, 1969, Manson ordered 4 members of his cult to go to Sharon Tate's house and massacre everyone inside. That night, Sharon Tate was at home with friends on Cielo Drive in Los Angeles, a street that still attracts tourists and curious visitors. Manson sent his followers, including Susan Atkins, Patricia Krenwinkel, and Leslie Van Houten, to carry out the crime. When they arrived, the cult members found Sharon, her friend Jay Sebring, writer Wojciech Frykowski, Abigail Folger, and her boyfriend, actor Jay Sebring. The violence that erupted that night was unimaginable. Sharon and the others were bound and brutally murdered. The crime scene was covered in blood, and the cult members wrote words like "pigs in the victim's blood" on the door. The investigation began immediately after the bodies were discovered. Police found clues and fingerprints linking the murders to Manson and his cult. In December of that year, members of the family were arrested, and investigations revealed that Tate's murder was not an isolated case. Attention focused on Charles Manson, who was arrested and charged with murder and conspiracy. During the trial, his charismatic and manipulative personality emerged. Manson tried to portray himself as a victim and shift blame onto his followers, but he was ultimately sentenced to life in prison. Sharon Tate's murder has fueled numerous conspiracy theories over the years. Some believe there were darker motives behind the killings, such as ties to the mafia or Hollywood rivalries. Others suggest that the brutality of the crime was part of Manson's broader plan to incite a civil war. One of the most intriguing theories suggests that the murders of Tate and her friends were linked to their connections with Hollywood's film industry. Manson and his cult may have been sending a political message or a warning to the powerful figures of that era. Additionally, there is speculation about Manson's involvement in occult rituals and esoteric practices, which might have influenced his choice of targets. Some believe Sharon's murder was a form of sacrifice, given that she was pregnant at the time. Sharon Tate's life was filled with interesting and lesser-known aspects. Before becoming an actress, she worked as a model and was one of the first stars to embody the California beauty ideal of the 1960s. She was also friends with many celebrities, including musician Frank Sinatra and actor Steve McQueen. Another fascinating connection is with Rosemary's Baby, a film directed by her husband, Roman Polanski. The movie, based on Ira Levin's novel, explores themes of occultism and paranoia. The story follows Rosemary Woodhouse, a pregnant woman who moves into an old New York building with her husband, only to find herself entangled with mysterious neighbors who take a disturbing interest in her unborn child. As Rosemary experiences strange events and increasing isolation, she suspects her husband and neighbors of having a sinister plan. She ultimately discovers that her baby is part of a satanic ritual. The film's tension builds until the horrifying truth is revealed. Rosemary's Baby became a classic of psychological horror, exploring themes of paranoia, motherhood, and lost innocence. Do you notice the similarities between the movie and Sharon Tate's life, especially her death? It's chilling. In Hollywood, there are so many coincidences that they no longer seem like coincidences. But let's just eat our popcorn, drink our Coke, and, most importantly, close our eyes and move on. It's better not to wake the Hollywood beast that always seems to be sleeping peacefully. Sharon's murder happened during a time when cinema was undergoing change and innovation. Many felt that it marked the end of Hollywood's innocence. The impact of Sharon Tate's murder was not just immediate, it left a lasting legacy. Her tragic story has inspired numerous films, including Quentin Tarantino's Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, as well as documentaries and books that keep her memory alive. Over the years, many women have found inspiration in her story, becoming activists for women's rights and against domestic violence. Her name is often associated with the cultural shifts of the 1960s, but also with the darkness and terror lurking behind the entertainment industry. Sharon Tate's story has become a symbol of a generation and an era, a warning about the dangers of celebrity worship and manipulation. Her murder remains one of the most shocking and discussed crimes in American history. Orchestrated by Charles Manson and his cult, it exposed society's vulnerabilities and cast a long shadow over Hollywood. With her life cut short, Sharon represents not just a tragic loss for cinema, but also a symbol of an era marked by violence, mystery, and darkness.
Thank you for listening to Murder Ballads, the podcast created by Chris Mariotti, leader of Edgar Allan Poets. Follow the band on social media at Edgar Allan Poets. The theme song is called The Shadow. Don't miss the next episode, where we'll dive into another dark story, a dissonant note that will mesmerize you like the voice of the sirens. Until then, stay safe, and always remember to keep it noir.